EP23 Annual Lord Passover.
53rd Annual Lord's Passover is going to be held down here in Florida.
It's going down.
You're here tonight to get a chance to be righteous enough to be worthy of God coming to save you.
That's right.
It's going down. The Lord's 53rd Annual Passover.
When we say we no cowards, we stop that business. We no cowards up in here.
Book your hotels now at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites, the IHG Hotel, 301 Tucker Lane, Cocoa Beach, Florida, 32926.
Here's a lot of men down. You dealing with the men of war. We at war. I sided with the Lord.
Y'all see this?
Comes with all your dishes, pots, and sports knives.
I gotta like this. This is like an apartment and a hotel room. You know what I mean? Yeah. This here right here is about to be holy ground. It's gonna be holy ground. All our beautiful, wonderful brothers and sisters from all over the world. You understand? We can boast that now. Brothers and sisters coming not only from every state, but from all over the world. I heard the numbers this year is ridiculous. We had to buy out the whole hotel.
Friday, April 15th at the Space Coast Convention Center.
My camp undefeated. You cannot debate. You just want the clout. We just want the praise. I'm just trying to get it.
This is going to be glorious.
We don't give a fuck. You can see it in our faces. Got it out the mud. Straight up out the base.
Shalom. Y'all about Shemel Shellbreaker Thumb. Y'all was smaller thought Shemel Rashad to the brothers and sisters. You tuned in live here with ISUPK Virginia with another episode of The Bible is Black, highlighting that so-called Blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans are God's chosen people in the Bible with proof, evidence showing that this is clearly not describing our oppressor, the so-called Jewish man saying that he is the Jews and the people of Israel, that so-called Negroes, West Indians, Haitians, so-called Mexicans, Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, so-called Hispanics, Native Americans, Seminoles, the Cherokee and Navajo, are the 12 lost tribes of the nation of Israel, the chosen people of God. Today, we proven in the Bible when we say the Bible is black. Of course, we're talking about all 12 of the tribes that you see here. If your father is one of these, then you are one of God's chosen people. This is your name in the Bible that God named you, and these are the names that our oppressors gave us: Afro-American, Mexican, and El Salvador, and Guatemala, and Colombia, Uruguay, and Trinidad, and Jamaica. Those are the names we got from our oppressors versus the names that the Most High gave to us, all right? So today, we're going to talk about the Bible is black, a very common thing. If you are Black, Hispanic, or Native American, we're going to talking about being arrested and executed on false charges, sitting on death row on false charges. This is characteristically, stereotypically, damn near only happens to Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You sitting in jail on false charges and being sitting on death row on false charges. This happened to us numerous times. One of the most famous or infamous incidents of being arrested on false charges and sentenced to death row and executed, you understand, for crimes that was not committed, that the courts knew that we did not commit these crimes, was our King, Yahushua Mashiach, Jesus Christ, another innocent Black man executed by the Romans, by our oppressors, the so-called devil that the Bible speaks of right here in the scriptures. So we're going to start with the story of Joseph, another brother arrested on false charges. You understand? Genesis chapter 39 and verse 1 says, and Joseph was brought down to Egypt. Joseph was sold into captivity to the Ishmaelites by his brothers. They were jealous of him. He was the youngest son of Jacob, his brothers sold him into slavery because he bragged a lot. He talked a lot of trash. His father loved him. Jacob loved him more than he loved all of his other sons. And it was clear they got jealous. They had a grudge against their brother and they sold him into slavery. You and your jealousy does horrible things to your people, all kind of murders and evil acts of vengeance and things. That's why the Lord has these stories recorded here in the Bible so that we can learn from them and see how evil that these demons that we allow to fester if we don't obey Christ can allow us to treat one another. So let's get some more. All right. So it says, and Joseph was brought down to Egypt, and Potiphar, a captain, an officer of Pharaoh, captain of the guard. This was the chief guard for Pharaoh's. Everything that Pharaoh had going on at that time, who the Pharaoh was, an Egyptian. This was an African, an Egyptian, a Hamite. Brought him of the hands of the Ishmaelites. He was sold into slavery unto the Arabs. Y'all wondering about human trafficking and all of this? That has always been the Arabs' business. The Egyptians always bought slaves. The Arabs always bought slaves. You understand? Human trafficking is heathen culture. That's not our culture, but it has always existed, and the Arabs were always famous for it. You understand? Which had brought him down hither. He bought this slave, this Israelite slave, to sell to the Egyptians. And the Lord was with Joseph, and he was a prosperous man. See how the Lord is blessing his brother. Joseph today would be a so-called Puerto Rican if he were alive. You understand? Of the tribe of Ephraim, a prosperous man. And he was in the house of his master, the Egyptian. He working and serving the Egyptian. The Egyptian that bought him was this captain, Potiphar. So he is a slave under the hand of this Egyptian that he brought him as a slave from the Arabs, the Ishmaelites. And it come to pass from the time that he had made him an overseer in his house. Meaning he put him in charge of everything, all of the wealth and power and riches that you would expect that he would have for working and serving under Pharaoh, because Egypt was as rich as America was. But he saw that everything that this one of his servants, one of his slaves did, everything turned to gold. He worked the same way that his father Joseph did. Joseph took care of Laban's sheep when he was working off the debt as a dowry to get Rachel and then to get Leah for marriage, everything. Joseph took care of the sheep. Those sheep multiplied 7 times. Joseph worked these crops. These crops grew quicker, bigger, stronger, more in abundance. Everything that we touch turned to gold when we obey the Most High. That's why these heathens know they want to put us in captivity so that they can exploit us. That's how the Chinese know to set up restaurants, and the Vietnamese and Koreans and the Arabs and Africans all know to come and set up shops in your community, because you will make them rich. Because what you touch turns to gold. That's how they know if they fill the NBA and the NFL with Negroes, if they fill the UFC arenas with Blacks and Hispanics and brothers of the tribe of Asher down in Brazil, you understand? And the tribe of Judah and Benjamin, so-called Afro-Americans, they know if they fill their UFC arenas with you, that you are Anderson Silva. You understand? They know if they fill it with you, that you are Rampage Jackson, and you are the Gracie family and Rashad Evans. You are those sports highlight reels, the Michael Jackson and LeBrons and Kobe's. Every nation of people knows that you are better than them at everything. That's why they work together to oppress you so that they can all come up together. You understand? This is no different. It has always been that way in the Bible, which is why the Lord commanded us never to join another nation of people. And over all that he had, meaning he's in charge of everything. This heathen bought a slave and now put this slave in charge of everything that he has. Joseph was so much better at running and organizing things as a slave that he brought this slave, and this African put him in charge of everything that he owned. That's how important and special you are. That's how they knew to go to Africa and get us and not the Africans and not the Hamites. You understand? All right. That the Lord had blessed the Egyptian's house for Joseph's sake. And the blessing of the Lord was upon all that he had in the house and in the field, meaning everything he worked in the house, a house Negro and the field. Everything he touched in the field Negro. Joseph was in charge of both. That's how special Joseph was. That's how the Lord was with Joseph. Was Joseph free? No. Just because you got a talent and abilities, Joseph was not free. Joseph was bought and sold to him as a slave, even though that he excelled in his position. That does not mean that he was free. Verse 6. All right. And he left all that he had in Joseph's hand, and he knew not aught he had, save the bread which he did eat. And Joseph was a goodly person and very well favored. Everybody loved Joseph. He was a good person. He took care of things. He was honest. He was an Israelite. That's how they know that they can exploit our people, because you got a good spirit. When Columbus came to the Taínos, they said that there's no people better on the earth. There's no better people than this anywhere on the earth. And they must be killed and made to serve as slaves. That's how our oppressors treated us. You understand? Those are in the accounts and records of Christopher Columbus. You can go and read those records. They're all public knowledge now. Verse 7, and it came to pass after these things that his master's wife cast her eyes upon Joseph. Some old nasty heathen, she looking at this brother, see him strong, power and authority, getting things done with the spirit of the Lord on him. And she said, lie with me. She wanted him to come and tear that thing up. She in there with the old Africans, old Hamites and Wambutu and all that, the smells and everything they got. And then you see this brother here, hair, afro, shining strong, in power, smelling good. You know how Israelites do. Probably got all kind of golds and things and hooking everything up, making the whole empire of her husband run so much better. You understand? She wanted to have sex with Joseph. Verse 8, but he refused and said, his master's wife, behold, my master wotteth not what is me in his house, and have committed all that he hath to my hand. There is none greater in his house than I, neither have he kept back anything from me but thee. Meaning he gave me everything but you. I'm not going to do this to my master. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to have sex with you. This is what he said, because thou art his wife. It is our custom as an Israelite to not have sex with another man's wife. This brother here is in slavery and captivity, but he's still maintaining his integrity, because you are not allowed to do Martin Luther King and have sex with every one of them to get back for all the slavery. That's not our way. That's against God. And Joseph stood on his principles, because that's what the Lord requires. And Joseph knew this, because we are not the Egyptians. She would have just as soon had sex with this slave, with her husband's top servant that he gonna see every day. You understand? This is the spirit on a heathen, and this is the spirit on a ton of our people worshiping Egypt and our oppressors' culture. There is none greater than I. You understand? He said, how then can I do this great wickedness and sin against God? The gods of the Egyptians didn't have a problem with all this orgy and threesome. You have sex with somebody else's wife. There's no law against that. But here, amongst the Israelites, the Jews, amongst our people, that's not our way, even in captivity, which shows that you had better be more righteous in captivity than you would be in your own land, especially if you're seeking to get out of captivity and seeking a reward, which we are, the kingdom of heaven. You understand? And it came to pass about this time that Joseph went into the house to do his business, and there was none of the men of the house there with him. And she caught him by his garment, saying, lie with me. She aggressively seeking his brother. She wanted Joseph to tear that thing up with this old nasty African tail, old nasty Hamite tail. You don't want that. You understand? That's unlawful. And she's married. He done told her no. She's harassing this brother. You understand? And he left his garment in her hand and fled and got out of him. And he ran out of his garment. And it came to pass when she saw that he left his garment in her hand and was fled, that she called unto the men of the house of her house and spake unto them, saying, see, he hath brought an Hebrew unto us to mock us, to show you, even though you doing well and prospering and making your masters rich, their people still despise you. You're not one of them. You're still the slave that they brought into this land. You understand? She said it brought a Hebrew to mock us. She talking to the other Hamites that nigga over there is here to mock us. Look how he think he better than us, which we are. He think he better than us, which our rules are superior. So is our God. So she turned her people to rally against him, same way that Delilah did to Samson. You understand? He came in to mock us. He came in unto me to lie with me, and I cried with a loud voice, saying he came to have sex with me, and I cried with a loud voice. And it came to pass when he heard that I lifted up my voice and cried, that he left his garment with me and fled and got him out, meaning he ran away. She's lying on this brother. And she laid up his garment by her until his Lord came home. Till the Egyptian Potiphar came home, and she spake unto him according to these words, saying, the Hebrew servant which thou hast brought unto us came unto me to mock me. And it came to pass as I lifted up my voice and cried, that he left his garment with me and fled. You understand? She lied on Joseph. You understand? And it came to pass when his master heard the words of his wife, which she spake unto him, saying, after this manner did thy servant to me, that his wrath was kindled. Now he angry. They lied on him. Some heathen lying on you. And because that heathen lies on you, oh, he did this to me. He did this to me. Famous incident right here in the Bible. Emmett Till, some heathen, some white woman lied and said, he did this to me. He did this. He touched me. He did this and that. He killed 2 little white girls. Emmett Till. This is Emmett Till right here in the Bible. Another brother, George Stinney, young brother, 14 years old, youngest person ever to be executed by electrocution. They sent this brother to the electric chair because they lied and said that this little boy killed 2 white girls. No evidence, nothing. They lied and put false charges on him, had the brother locked up. You understand? This is the Bible is black. You understand? You being arrested on false charges is biblical. You understand? All right. Verse 20, and Joseph's master took him and put him into the prison, a place where the king's prisoners were bound, and he was in the prison. You understand? Joseph was in the prison. He went from being in charge of everything under some heathen that he made him rich and powerful and not having sex with his wife. Then he turned around and got lied on. And just like that, he's now in the Egypt federal prison because someone lied on him. All right. Like this is typical for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. This is typical. This is another brother. His name is Khalif Browder. This is Khalif Browder in the Bible. You understand? This is Khalif Browder in the Bible, getting lied on, sitting in prison on false charges, never committed a crime. You understand? This is Khalif Browder right here in the scriptures. This is the Bible is black. Like the Bible clearly describes, you understand? Like he is now in prison. Of course, we know that Joseph got out of prison later on. He became second in charge of all of Egypt because the Lord was with him. Now we're going to read another story. You understand? Your pastor never taught you Khalif Browder was in the Bible, that George Stinney was in the Bible. While they telling you to love and glorify America and worship the ground that our oppressors walk on and salute his flag and join his military and police force and celebrate his holidays and his politics, that's against the Lord. Like you don't realize the history of the Bible, like your heritage. They're supposed to lie and put you in prison on false charges. That's why you got to serve the Most High so that he can crush our oppressors. But if you want to join hand in hand with them, like Martin Luther King said, then the Lord will not be with you to protect you. If you're going to take the customs of the heathens and have sex with another man's wife, then you will end up in prison on false charges. You understand? All of the evil and things that our people face because our oppressors are hunting us, which you never learn because of the Christian church, because of your Black religious leaders, your Hispanic and Native American preachers and pastors and leaders telling you that you are part of your oppressive society. All you got to do is pray and vote and pay your taxes and straighten your hair and you understand, and talk with a different accent, and make sure your skin is as light as possible, and change your voice so that they don't realize that you are one of these 12 tribes, and you give your soul over to them, that means that you'll fit into their society. That is not true. All right, so let's get here. This is the Bible is Black, being arrested on false charges. Our people are also being executed on false charges. You understand? Just like that brother George Stinney. All right. And it came Matthew 27:1. This is Christ. And when the morning was come, all the chief priests and elders of the people took counsel against Jesus, against Yahushua, to put him to death. And when they had bound him, they led him away and delivered him unto Pontius Pilate, the governor. They took and arrested Christ again on more false charges. You understand? They arrested him on false charges, just like the Central Park Five. More false charges, more black men. These is Gadite brothers. Gadite brothers, 4 of them. They did the same thing in Canada, arrested these brothers on false charges. They did 18 years in prison in Canada of the tribe of Gad. The same way, brothers, the Central Park Five, they did time in prison as well. They do this over and over again. Innocent black man sitting on death row. The judge know he innocent. Innocent Hispanic brother sitting on death row. They know he innocent. They know you didn't do it. The evidence says you didn't do it, but the system, innocent brother exonerated, decades in prison. Brother spending 50, 60 years, decades in prison. All of their 20s and 30s in prison, lying on false charges right here in the Bible. Same thing they did to Joseph, same thing they did to Christ. You understand? Let's get some more. You didn't realize how black the Bible was. Verse 2. And when they had bound him, led him away. They delivered him. Verse 15. Now at the feast, the governor was wont to release unto the people a prisoner whom they would. They had a custom of releasing people a prisoner, releasing a prisoner at this feast time, just to show you that the justice system was not about justice. This was about politics and games and power and money. It didn't have anything to do with what was just and fair and righteous. That is why we are not supposed to be under a heathen. That's why it's imperative that we deal with our problems and issues internally with our own officers and our own courts and our own leaders, just as the Lord commanded Moses to set up in Deuteronomy, the 1st chapter. But you go to church, but you vote for your leaders. You follow America and Islam and Rastafarianism and Christianity and forfeit the protection of the culture and the heritage that the Lord appointed to our people so that we can rule ourselves. You go and join our oppressor, and then they arrest brothers on false charges and then execute them. Verse 18. For he knew that the envy they had against him, like Pontius Pilate is the governor, he's proceeding over this matter. He knew that they hated Christ. You understand? Verse 19, and when he set him down on the judgment seat, he set him there to read the charges. His wife sent unto him, saying, have thou nothing to do with this just man? His wife came and told him, don't do this. Leave this man alone. For I have suffered many things this day in a dream because of him. I had horrible dreams and nightmares. Leave Yahushua, leave this man alone, leave Jesus alone. Verse 20, but the chief priests and the elders persuaded the multitude that they should ask Barabbas and destroy Jesus. They wanted Christ to be killed. These religious leaders had him arrested on false charges. They wanted him to be killed. This is why they bought into that system. This is why they loved Caesar. This is why they tell you to vote and salute the flag. They want 2 million black men in prison. They want 18 million abortions versus Roe versus Wade. 20 million abortions every, you understand, 1,200 abortions in the black community every year. They want you a part of these politics so that your sons and daughters can end up in prison when you can't control them because they told you to separate from your man. The religious leaders of our people have always been the ones telling us not to obey the Most High. They've always told us not to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments, that everything was going to be all right, to go and join the heathen, to make a custom with the Philistines. and in the Ammonites, and in the Asians and the Arabs, and always get us backstabbed while they get rich and prosper, while we suffer and die. You understand? Verse 22. Pilate saith unto them, what shall I do then with Jesus, which is called Christ? They all say unto him, let him be crucified. You understand? They wanted him executed. That's the same spirit of our oppressors. They wanted this brother to be executed. They got him on death row on false charges. You understand? Verse 24. When Pilate saw that he could prevail nothing, but that rather a tumult was made, he took water and washed his hand before the multitude, saying, I am innocent of the blood of this just person. This is the courts knowing. He the highest authority in the land. That's why they took him to Pontius Pilate. This is the courts knowing that you did not commit these murders, that you did not do this crime, that the evidence says that you're innocent, that the DNA proof doesn't match, that the alibis check out, that you wasn't there, that there's no proof. This is them agreeing the same spirit that is on our oppressor when they go and execute George Stinney, when they go and murder George Floyd, when they put Khalif Browder in prison on false charges, when they lock up these Gadite brothers in Canada for 18 years. This is the spirit in your Christian church, the spirit of why you asked for those same no-knock warrants that you crying for that killed Breonna Taylor, the same ones that killed Alberta Spurl. They kicking in doors at the wrong house, causing old ladies to have heart attacks, and killing kids, shooting people in their bed sleep like Breonna Taylor, killing us at traffic stops. The same police that you asked and begged for all throughout the 80s and the 90s, because the leaders that you follow, like these Sadducees and Pharisees that hated the righteous that the Lord put in charge ever since the days of Moses, Noah, Samuel, Ezekiel, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Hosea, Mattathias, Christ, Paul, Peter. You've always hated to be under the authority of the men that the Lord set up, and you would rather be left at the mercy of our oppressors because you have the same spirit as these evil religious leaders that believe that the solution is not to remove them from their seat and let the prophets the Lord set up teach our people to correct these issues, that the solution is to vote for your leaders and have our oppressors just throw everybody in prison. Harsher penalties, longer sentences that wiped out the Black family, Hispanic, Native American family. Your Christian preachers and leaders that you think God speaks to, they are the ones that begged Bill Clinton and Kamala Harris and Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton. They begged for these 3-strike laws. They begged for your teenage son who lost all the businesses that he would work at thanks to that idiot Martin Luther King telling us to integrate. And now we gave all of our money to our oppressors. The Black shoemaker made the shoes that we wore in the Black community. Now we pay Nike $300 a pair of shoes for LeBrons and Garnetts and whatever the hell else y'all buying, the Steph Currys and the KDs and the Jordans. You understand? We paying them when we made our own shoes, thanks to Martin Luther King. And also thanks to another civil rights leader just like them, Reverend Al Sharpton. Crack, cocaine, heroin, and all those drugs got flooded into our communities during the 80s. And the same ones that you followed and hoped in and saluted the flag and sing your stupid lift every voice and sing Negro anthem songs, thinking that that means something and you honor Martin Luther King every year, they the ones that beg for them 3-strike laws. So that your 15-year-old son that get caught up in a trap that our oppressors set for him, now that Martin Luther King told us to live our lives like an oppressor and not be separate and Black and brown and have brotherhood with each other, now he gonna get a felony at 15 and that's never going to leave his record. It's never gonna leave his record. He won't be able to get a job because your economy to hire Black and Hispanics that want to start their lives over, your economy is in the hands of your oppressors now, and he passed laws to make sure you don't get to start your life over, even after you've already served your time for a crime that you committed. Whether it was your fault or not, you never get out of this loop, thanks to these same leaders that said to crucify Christ. This is the spirit that is in those leaders. You think they men of God. You think they want what's best for the Black community because you see their suits and their shaved faces and their slick back hair and they talk good English and they got all of the power and authorities sit next to Pharaoh, but guess what? They don't represent the Lord. The Lord is not with them, and they are the reason that our lives, families, communities are in absolute shambles to this very day. You understand? This heathen knew Jesus was innocent. He knew Christ was innocent. And he said, I am innocent of the blood of this just person. See ye to it. He knew he was innocent, but he still went on ahead because that's the way. That's the courts. That's how it goes. You know, I know that he innocent and he on death row. I know he didn't do it, but he already scheduled for execution. You know, my hands are tied. This is the flag you salute. This is what you pledge an allegiance to, which is against God. This is whose military and governing force, whose shield and military uniform that you wear, which is against God. You understand? This is who you join hands at the table of brotherhood with, even though God said, never join your enemies, that we would be sold into the hands of our enemies for bondmen and bondwomen. This is innocent Black, Hispanic, and Native American men being arrested on false charges, sentenced to death row, and executed by the state, even though Kamala Harris knows she put innocent men, innocent Black and Hispanic men, sentencing them to their death, taking their life and their freedom away, just like these brothers. Even though they know that you're innocent, they still going to do it because that's how this system functions. You are supposed to get in the ISUPK and build up the Lord's government, his governing body, which is under Commanding General Yohana, so that us as a nation can stand against this evil. But as long as you want to be an American and a Christian and Muslim and Democrat and Republican and anything else except getting in the ISUPK so that you can build up your nation and come under the proper protection and authority that the Lord set up under Commander General Yohana, you're going to be without the protection and covering of the Lord. This has been another episode of The Bible is Black, being arrested on false charges, innocent sitting on death row, and being executed by the state. Jesus Christ was an innocent Black man that was executed by the Roman state, by our oppressors, just like so many other innocent Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans that were executed by our oppressors. This has been another episode of The Bible is Black. Leave your comments here on YouTube. Subscribe. Check out the other 21, 22 episodes. Stay tuned.
ISUPK 53rd Annual Lord's Passover.
Hey, Shalom, Israel. This is the ISUPK down in Florida. I'm Captain of 10,000 Shamoy Yalo. We here to let you know 53rd Annual Lord's Passover is going to be held down here in Florida. It's going down in South Florida, Cocoa Beach.
Friday, April 15th, 2022.
The lamb, the wine, the brotherhood, the sisterhood, you understand? Good music, good weather, palm trees, the whole nine.
This is going to be glorious. Book your hotels now at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites, 301 Tucker Lane, Cocoa Beach, Florida, 32926.
April 15th and the 16th. Don't just book for the 15th. Book for the 15th and the 16th.
It's going down Friday, April 15th at the Space Coast Convention Center.
Moses told Pharaoh we need 3 days to be able to go out into the wilderness and serve our power the way he commands. You're going to have to get that off with your boss, with your slave master. So make sure you in the building. Cocoa Beach, Florida, April 15th to 16th, 2022 is going down. We'll see y'all there. Shalom.
Black power, 144,000. I'm just trying to make 144,000. 144,000.